Welcome back to the Crypto's Key conversation. We have some massive news that came out of litigation within the Ripple versus SEC case. So we're going to quickly take a look at what James K. Fallon said just right off the rip of this video. It says breaking. It says Magistrate Judge Netburn denies the SEC's attorney-client privilege claims. The predetermined purpose of the communications was not to provide legal advice. The documents must be produced. So this is massive bombshell news that came out, and this is what the community's been expecting and been wanting when it comes to the litigation within this case. So this is massive. We're going to circle back to this because there's a lot of conversation that's been taking place throughout Twitter with members within the XRP community when it comes to like Stuart Alderati, you have Stefan Huber, Johnny Deaton, digital asset investor, and so on. But quickly coming over here to CoinGecko, we're currently still under $1 trillion market cap, and we did see a major sell-off due to the inflation rate that had came out and the data that had came out. If we could look at a 24-hour period, so we had this drop right here from, it was about 19.9, and it went all the way down to about 1,900, so almost $1,000 drop. But as you can see, we're currently sitting at $926 billion market cap, currently up now 1.9%. So we had to jump back up. I did see XRP in the mid to high 30s. It was like 0.308 at the lowest for the day. Bitcoin sitting at 19.9 right now. Ethereum sitting at 1,091. XRP is at 32.3. So we see a bounce, had a quick little recovery that's happening. It's up 3.5%. 4.3% increase for Ethereum, and then Bitcoin's up 2.6%. Looking at the top gainer, never heard of it. It says Lido DAO, some decentralized autonomous organization, 34.9%, and Convex Finance, 18%, Curve DAO, 16%, Aave, 13.7%, and so on. So coming over here to watch a group, it says breaking inflation rates 9.1%, the highest the U.S. has seen in 40 years. So everyone has, their kind of opinion on what really is the true actual number of the inflation rate, not just what the master narrative is kind of, throwing out there. Like, is this really where we're at, or are we higher? There's a lot of speculation that's been going on about this, but this definitely came out higher than expected. So obviously the markets reacted to that news. Coming over here to the Bitcoin Fair Greed Index, we're currently at 15. We were just at 16 yesterday, and as we were, I think, weren't we in like the 20s? I think our last video we're like 22 or something, can't remember. But yeah, we're in the 15s. I wouldn't be surprised if we didn't, tick down a little lower, or maybe just stayed in this range. We have an update here in the next hour and 30 minutes or so, so we'll see kind of what's happening. But as you can see, we're still in this extreme fear range. So just like I told you with this James K. Fallon tweet here, says breaking, Magistrate Judge Netburn denies the SEC's attorney-client privilege. The documents must be produced. The decision is what Black Law's dictionary defines as a body slam. So Jeremy Hogan's here. He says, wow, she used the H word, Jim. The H word. So if we come in here, let me just click in there because it says the hypocrisy in arguing to the court. On the one hand, the speech is not relevant to the market's understanding of how or whether the SEC will regulate cryptocurrency. And on the other hand, the Heyman sought and obtained legal advice from SEC counsel in drafting his speech suggests that SEC is adopting its litigation positions to further its desired goal and not out of the faithful allegiance to the law. So remember that, because we're going to cover this here soon. It says faithful allegiance to the law. Remember, a lot of these, not a lot of them, I mean, all of these lawyers that are, with going through this litigation with the Ripple versus SEC lawsuit, they swore on, to an oath. So when it comes to those terms, faithful allegiance to the law, it's going to come into play and pretty much paint a picture of kind of what the sickening nature and behavior that's been happening with, the SEC going after Ripple and XRP and affecting, XRP investors and holders. Tim says really stuck it to them here. Finally, XRP crypto, with the SEC better start begging Ripple for a settlement. For real. So I'm curious to see what's going to happen. Stefan Huber says something right here. Says, he's responding to Fred Rispoli, where it says, who wants to take bets? SEC seeks reconsideration of this denial before appealing to Taurus. I'm actually not sure it's procedurally allowed. I think it is. It would extend the delay, but man, oh man, would it? He says, I guess he's referencing them, appealing to Judge Netburn before taking it to Judge Torres, pretty much further delaying delaying the case, kicking the can further down the road. Stefan Huber says they actually will ask Netburn for reconsideration, and she will grant it with pleasure. We all know she will. Jeremy Hogan says, you have to give the judge something new at reconsideration. For the DPP reconsideration ruling for the SEC gave her 10 or so emails that the judge hadn't seen before. They already gave her emails for their attorney-client privilege motion. What is there that she hasn't considered? Fred Rispoli said, there's a catch-all standard on these motions as well. Quote, they need to correct a clear error or prevent manifest injustice. Nothing prevents SEC from filing one, and I think it's suicide to file one and clearly would be denied, but they, quote, could solely for delay purposes only. And that's literally been their tactic, is delay, delay, delay. And it's been quite evident that they don't have, they really don't have anything in their corner. They don't have any, they're not in a position of power when it comes to, the litigation against Ripple. They're clearly have their backs, they're backed into the corner. So they're literally reaching and grabbing for anything, any lifeline that they possibly can, and it's just not working. The only thing that's working for them is the delay tactic. But, Ripple has the capital to take this thing the distance. So Stuart Adarati brought up something interesting here. He says, this is Ripple's general counsel. He says, thinking this morning about when first admitted to the bar, every lawyer has to swear an oath, not to be a desired goal, nor to a client. You swear an oath to a faithful allegiance to the law and to your duties as an officer of the court. So that goes back to what we were just talking about here when it comes to this right here. Faithful allegiance to the law. Let me come out of here. Did I zoom into that? Yeah, so then if we come down here, JV says, what are the consequences when you break the oath because the entire SEC needs to face them? Pompous Maxa says, public shaming by the people they are hurting. That's it. XRP Crypto says, SEC is one of the most corrupt government organizations with no integrity and morals. Coming out here at XRP, the standard production, this is kind of funny, says, disclaimer. This Stuart Alderati tweet is general tweet about faithful allegiance to the law and is not intended to be a disparaging commentary about the SEC's lawyers being crooked snakes who have no faithful allegiance to the law and their sworn duties of officers of the court. So obviously, if you go down this thread, I mean, there's a lot of funny comments and a lot of people kind of bashing the representation within the SEC's party, but it's the truth. It's like, obviously you have some sort of, promise or you're there. The SEC is there to protect the so-called investors that they're hurting. And it's kind of crazy. But then on top of that, you have like he said, you have you're sworn to the oath, a faithful allegiance to the law. And it's like, what are you guys doing? There's clearly, misconduct or, there's conflicts of interest, a lot of shady backdoor deals, just a lot of shady things that are truly hurting, investors. Coming over here, Johnny Deaton says, he's responding to this this tweet that he had put up on the 12th, says, SEC must prove XRP is an investment contract, but the SEC unilaterally changed its burden to proving only a, quote, representation of an investment contract. The SEC doesn't get to make up the law in order to satisfy political desire to regulate a new evolving asset class. Johnny Deaton says, Judge Netburn commented that the SEC lawyers have shown a lack of faithful allegiance to the law. But it is so much worse than that. SEC lawyers are making up the law in order to satisfy Gary Gensler's political desire to regulate a new evolving asset class. Tim says the only way out now is settlement. They are not going to let those documents out, which from everything that I've been hearing and following, the people that are, practicing law like Johnny Deaton, Jeremy Hogan, James K. Filan, and Rispoli, and so on, like all the information that I've getting, I agree. I don't think that we're going to see that. I think the evidence, clearly they're trying to hide something, and the stuff that's, within those documents are going to be too damaging or damning and exposing, other people that aren't so-called exposed right now. I think there's no way that they're going to let that out. So we're definitely going to see some sort of settlement. And whether it's, them delaying as much as they possibly can, then go into a settlement, they better hope Ripple wants to settle with them still at that point. Continuing, he says, let me just reread it. Tim says, the only way out now is settlement. They are not going to let those documents out, but seems this will be the end of the road for the continued BS antics. Yeah, let's hope so. I like this too. This is huge, okay? This is from XRP Pizza _XRP Pizza. Ripple Eye says, in a matter of months, a few Twitter sleuths found out, one, who Satoshi could be, which I made a video about that yesterday, the day before yesterday. It says, two, disguised whales bought Ethereum. And this obviously Ethereum Free Pass timeline, the community came together to, find out all this information and piece it together. You have 3. Gary Gensler said ETH was a security, so we have him on, video footage when he was teaching at MIT. 4, crossed up the SEC in real time on their BS. 5, 68,000 plus sued SEC, all thanks to Johnny Deaton. So obviously Johnny Deaton being, the supreme leader of the class action lawsuit, really taking a step up and stepping up for the community because he saw there was some wrongdoing. So obviously 68,000 plus. I think there was a crap ton. I don't know if we're halfway to almost 69,000. I can't remember. And then you have Empower Oversight, and that's Jason Foster and Empower Oversight with the Freedom of Information Act going after the SEC, and then found out that J.P. Morgan was a part of Ethereum before it even went public on their ICO. They've always been a part of it the entire time. So and there's a lot more information that can be placed on this list, but it's true. It's like just a decentralized Twitter community coming together to fight for a common cause, to fight the good fight, to stand up for what's right. To protect ourselves and to to fight for a level playing field so this space can flourish, the right way. May the best project, may the best, team win the day. And that's how it should be. That's huge. I think I retweeted that. I think I quote tweeted it. All right, moving on here. This is from Eleanor. This is huge. So I put this in, I made that Satoshi Nakamoto finally found a video just the other day. We put a lot of this video stuff in there, and I'm going to play it again so we know, but this is Eleanor Terrett, and obviously Eleanor Terrett and Charles Gasparino have been 2 players within the mainstream media that really, stepped up and started covering this ETHgate stuff, Ethereum Free Pass stuff, and all the shady stuff that's been happening with the Ripple versus SEC case. And Eleanor Terrett has said, this is definitely worth digging into. Next project, Charles Gasparino, ? Who is Satoshi? Who are Satoshi? So let's listen into this again really quick.
We looked at Bitcoin. It was the most prevalent at that point. We had seized quite a bit of it, millions of dollars worth, under the Silk Road investigation. So one of our agents who started looking at another online marketplace through the deep web, what was called Black Market Reloaded, they were sending weapons through packages and ordering them on the dark web. And he was really, really smart, forward-leaning agent. And he goes, I want to go interview Satoshi Nakamoto. And we're like, what? He said, yeah, I want to go interview this guy. And at the time, we're like, hey, it's a figment of somebody's imagination. Maybe it's true. Maybe it's not true. So, we had all this pushback from our headquarters. And we thought, hey, if an agent wants to go talk to him and we have some money, why don't we send him? Let's find out how this works. So as it came to be, the agents flew out to California, and they realized that he wasn't alone in creating this. There were 3 other people, and they sat down and met with them and talked to them to find out how this actually works and what their reason for it was.
So if you haven't watched that last video that I put up, I highly recommend you go check it out. I cover it more in detail. You can go on Digital Asset Investor channel. WheezyX has a lot of stuff on his tweet threads or his timeline as well. There's a lot of great information out there, but I'm curious to see, where Eleanor Terrett and Charles Gasparino take this next project, which is huge. Really quick on this, it says, Cointelegraph, U.S. Senate confirms Michael Barr as Fed Vice Chair for Supervision. Michael Barr was on advisory board of Ripple Labs from 2015 and 2017 and has called on lawmakers to create a regulatory framework on stablecoins to prevent the risk of runs. So coming down here, there's a quote here that says, Barr has strong support for across a political spectrum and has been confirmed by the Senate on a bipartisan basis, said Biden in April. He understands that this job is not a partisan one, but one that plays a critical role in regulating our nation's financial institutions to ensure Americans are treated fairly and to protect the stability of our economy. So that's huge. I mean, this is the former advisory member of the board of Ripple Labs from 2015, 2017. I mean, you have, high-ranking or, members that are in, high-ranking positions that, left their positions to go on Ripple's board or to work with Ripple, the company. And you have, like people like Michael Barr and other people, leaving Ripple to get into, major positions like this. I mean, clearly you can see kind of like the pattern, or you can kind of see what's going on in regards of how things are kind of shaping out in regards of, Ripple's influence and how important this company is when it comes to this so-called new financial system, and when it comes to the regulatory framework within our, our world, if I guess you can say that. So it's going to be quite interesting to see how things, move forward. And it all stems from, and it starts from, I guess, when we get this regulatory clarity when it comes to, XRP, Ripple gets, obviously they get out from under this lawsuit. Obviously they've been growing and building, setting partnerships. They haven't slowed down at all. They've been growing. I think they were saying 8 times, even with the lawsuit under them. So once this is out, once we get out from under this, it's going to be crazy to see where this thing goes. But that's kind of the update right now. I'll try to make this one as quick as possible. I know it's 15 minutes, but I'm going to continue to keep bringing you great content. Make sure you subscribe to Crypto's Key Conversation YouTube channel. Follow us on Twitter at CryptoIsKey1. Really excited to keep growing and keep, bringing you guys great content. With all that being said, stay strong out there. Be safe.